Hello, welcome. Yeah, I'd like to talk about, well, in essence, control and the nature of our reality and how I think the lack of control can explain a lot of people's actions in the world. So, what do I mean by lack of control and certainly control? Okay, so the first lack of control that we all experience in this life is being born. So, nobody asked to be born. We don't get to pick where, when, and how we were born. We all come into this existence and we have zero control over that, as far as we know. Maybe you could have very well existed as a being of consciousness and chosen to be born, but if that's the case, we just have no memory. We just wouldn't know. And then there's another massive loss of control at the end of your life. So we all die. This will happen. This is not morose so much as it is just factually accurate. So you're going to die, and you don't know when, where, or how. But you know that it will happen. It will occur. These are the rules of the game that we're playing, the game of life. These are the rules. Somebody set the rules. If you believe in a creator to life, then the creator set these rules in this existence. And it seems to me that a lot of people's actions are about taking control back. They're mad at the creator, either at a subconscious level, perhaps consciously, but I see this mostly at a subconscious level, where people haven't identified this is a real problem. So what do I mean by taking back control? Okay? And, well, we're all trying to take back control of our lives. But ultimately, these events of how we're born and how we die, did we ever have control? How much control did we have? So you could be the most fit, person in the world and, be vegetarian or vegan and exercise and everything like that. And you could die at any time. You certainly increase the statistical likelihood that you're going to live longer, but that's all you can do. You can increase the probability that you'll live longer. But in either case, whether you're fit or unfit, all roads lead to death. It's a lack of control is what it is. And so we look at, now I want to pivot a little bit here and look at some atrocities, if you will. So I'm always trying to explain where do things like genocide and murder and rape and things like that come into play. And here we're also going to talk about suicide as well. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that I am a combat veteran, and I've dealt with suicide ideation for decades now. It's consumed my life trying not to kill myself. And it's just been hard, everything that I've experienced through life, basically. But yeah, so what is suicide, though? Well, remember, we looked at life, that we lose control about when, where, and how we die. So with suicide, you actually take that control back. You choose when, where, and how you die. And so this seems to me that suicide now, under this lens, becomes a perfectly rational answer to the problems of, number one, the rules of the game set by the creator, and then number two, we gain or lose control, throughout our lives is between other human beings, right? So a lot of people have lost control over COVID, right? Where we have a forced quarantine. Your job may no longer be open at the office. You lost that control to be able to leave your house every day or be among groups of people. See, that control has been taken away from you, and we already enter in this game in a control deficit. For suicide, some religions are going to say that it's a mortal sin, and they're going to condemn you to hell. I would, of course, never do that. If you've seen my other videos, my stance on, I don't know how you read the Bible and your main takeaway is, run around condemning people to hell, number one. yeah, number two, again, so we've analyzed this and said, well, look, it's a totally rational answer. Should you do it? No. Why shouldn't you do it? Well, because for those of us left behind, it makes life that much harder. So even if I don't know you at all, and you kill yourself, you become a statistic, which I'm quite aware of, and I see that, and it's hard. It weighs on my heart. So knowing that 22 veterans take their own lives a day, and that's hard, and I know that these people are out there and can take their own lives at any time. So for those of us left behind, it just makes life that much more challenging. And especially, and the closer you get to an individual who has killed themselves, the harder it is. I personally have known two people, both in the military, to take their own lives, and still, remember their faces and talk to them and things like that. And again, it's I don't condemn them to hell at all. I don't think that's the path. These people both lost a massive amount of control. One we were out doing a field operation, and he got caught smoking marijuana. Now, I don't know what the consequences of that were going to be if he would have got kicked out of the Marine Corps at that point. They're pretty strict on drugs, but he couldn't face the shame. But so here he had whatever was going to happen to him, was completely out of his control, and he, sought to take some of that control back, and he did by taking his own life. No, if anybody else had control over that situation, they would have stopped him. For example. So and the other guy, his wife left him, and he was trying to get time off from the Marine Corps to go deal with his family problems, and they wouldn't give it to him. They wouldn't give it to him. It's the Marine Corps is this organism where it's Marine Corps first. It's basically it's Marine Corps, and then everything else is behind the Marine Corps. So whatever you think, whatever your priorities are, the Marine Corps comes first by far. And they wouldn't give it. He had this loss of control. He couldn't even control, where he was going to be at a point in time. You're effectively, if you're looking at that point, that's no different than a prisoner, right? So, and he sought to take control back, and he did. He took his own life. So I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying go out and do this thing. I'm I empathize with anybody who's struggling with suicidal ideation. I still, to this day, have suicidal ideation. I have very powerful mechanisms in place, mental, to help fight it. So, for example, at the end of the day, my only mission in life is to not kill myself. So that was my most powerful safeguard against suicide. So no matter what I accomplished throughout the day, even if I only got out of bed and made it to the couch, if I didn't kill myself, I've had a completely successful day. That was my definition of success, and it's still my definition of success. Even though now, I have, I made it through, a degree and then an advanced degree, and I work, full time now, and I do other stuff, trying to get, videos out and all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, if too much stress comes on me, I'll start to shut down, and then I'll start to remove these things, and I will go back to, if I can give nothing to my society or family or nothing, well, at least I can give them, I'm not going to kill myself. At least I could attempt that much. If I could give nothing else to society, I'll give that. And, okay. So enough about suicide, but looking at also murder or death, and whether that comes from, genocide or war or just out and out murder, killing. At the end of the day, somebody's lost their life, and what does that mean? Well, you have now set, if you're the killer, for example, you have, set when and where and how this person is going to die. You now control, when they leave this world. You've taken that control for yourself. And when we take control, we somehow feel we now have control. So again, I think that does explain why people do it. They are mad at the rules of the game, that we have so little control. In that we like to think we have control, and you do have some. Yeah, you absolutely do have some. But if you kind of look at the bigger picture of this life, of this reality, we have very little control. The stream has been set. I mean, we're going downstream. You can swim to the left side of the stream. You could swim to the right side of the stream. You can swim against the current as much as you want. You're not making it upstream. It's not happening. The current is set. Yeah, with murder, so yeah, you're permanently taking away somebody's life. So in suicide, you take your own life, you take the control back. In murder, you take the control from somebody else. You choose. And rape or being a victim of rape, you take control away from somebody for a period of time. Take full control away of their body from them. And you can see these things have devastating impacts on the victims. This sheer what little control we do have, when that is taken away, and we're already, like I said, in this reality at a control deficit. We're trying to understand, how do we shape our own reality? Well, within the framework of we didn't ask to be born and we're going to die. And through diet and exercise and clean living, increase the probability that you'll live longer, but there are no guarantees in life. You can be the healthiest person in the world and walk outside and get hit by a bus or, boom. Cancer strikes healthy people, for example. Yeah, this, I certainly didn't want this to be, doom and gloom, but it is a way to, I'm trying to do is just explain people's actions, because, we're looking out across the world and it's getting, worse and worse. And over my life, I was born in the 80s, and, it seems like over the last 30 years, things have gotten a lot worse. We used to have times of peace, if you can remember that far back. For example, we used to not be in a continual state of war. If we look out and we see, well, things are really bad. Well, remember, people's response to reality seems to be rational. It is rational. I'm not justifying it. I'm not condoning it in any way. If you would like me to condemn these acts that I have mentioned, yes, I easily condemn them. Don't do any of these things. I would think that would be a no-brainer, but I guess not. So I guess at the end of the day, how do we gain control? And I think paradoxically, how we gain control is by giving up control. If you look at the 12-step program, my mother, for example, was just a raging alcoholic, just her whole life. It destroyed everything in her life. And it was through the 12-step program that she found full sobriety. And then, after that, was diagnosed with cancer, and her doctor told her that, well, it'd be healthy to drink a glass of red wine. She had come so full circle that she was actually able to do that. She was able to drink a single glass of wine at night. Now that is, for people dealing with an addiction, you're going to, how full circle that is. You have completely conquered your addiction at that point in time. When you can actually do the thing that you're completely addicted to in a controlled manner. And that was through the 12-step program, and through the 12-step program, you completely surrender control to a higher power. I mean, you admit you are in fact helpless, and maybe, just maybe, that's what, if the controller set, the rules to the game, we come into this life, no control, we didn't ask to be born, and we leave this life, is that, the designer telling us that, look, seek to find control, you're not going to find it. Just give it up. Give it up to find control, paradoxically speaking. Understand that whatever you are going through whatever you're trying to accomplish, to give up control and let to the Creator, to God, and however you define God, whatever your religion is. Look, I'm not trying to push a religious ideology on you. I don't care who this is. I don't care what is your religious background. I'm not trying to convert you to any notion of God. So please, grant me the same, and we'll get along just fine. Yeah, and at the end of the day, and sometimes, we're all just looking for some control in our lives, some order to this chaos, and sometimes life will take control away from you, whether that be at work. School is a huge area where they take control away from you. Your parents take control away from you, but remember, they've been taught, as authority figures, that your job is to take control away because they've been through the same process of school. Governments largely taking control. How are governments leading us? By taking control away from us, time in and time out. So where society is large scale taking control away from us. And so you have a very real refuge in God, in the Creator, in the Designer, to say, this you controlled it, you created the thing, this reality, and we are powerless, and all these people that seek to gain control through genocide and murder and rape, they want control away from the Creator. They're trying to control reality. They want control for their own lives, and they'll do anything to get it. So with that being said, if you're having problems with suicide, you'd like to talk to me, I'll talk to you. Definitely, you should email out at godisunknowable@gmail.com. Also in the description, I will respond. Whoever this is, certainly, consider having a balance, giving control to God versus taking control for yourself. And that's hard to do. There's a serenity prayer. If you're going through any difficult times with anxiety and depression, the serenity prayer is going to not help that much. That's going to help for people who are not going through very difficult times. So assuming you are going through, very, very difficult times, instead of completely surrendering yourself to the act of, rape, murder, suicide, whatever the act is, to take control back into your life, if you're an alcoholic, for example, you can control, that substance, and it ends up controlling you in the end. But, you could give control to God, to say, hey, this is it. I've got nothing left to give. And so for me, with suicidal ideation, that's helped. Just saying, look, God, I can't give anything to this world other than not killing myself. And I've been, in that situation several over a long period of time, and then several times since then. And giving that control away, and not even trying to control my life in any way, has helped. So to whoever this is, we're together. You're not alone. Let's just work together. I love you. Have a great day.